Yeah, absolutely. He was well known as a nerd when he was playing as well. I think all his teammates used to slag him. He was a guy who, listen, obviously he had athletic talent and he was quick and sharp and his acceleration was a strength, but he probably would say himself, he got through on pure work ethic and an ability and desire to work hard. He was always doing extra analysis, looking at the technical details of his game, and he put a lot of thought into that, where some players probably don't. They probably just get coached. They probably go through the motions of fitting into a structure and doing their job. He was very thoughtful with it. And I think people like Joe Schmidt obviously saw that potential in him, and obviously Axel as well, who brought him into the Munster fold. He coached early enough. I think when he was still up in UCD, he coached in St Andrews, where he went to school, and he got a taste of it that way. And then as soon as he retired, he was considering it. He went off to see Conor O'Shea and Harlequins, had a visit there. He went to Northampton to have a look, a couple other clubs. And then he kind of got into Munster kind of on a consultancy basis really at the start. And I mean, I've spoken to people in Sea Point before, his home club in Dublin, where it all started, and where actually he played dual status all the way up to under 20 level. He was really loyal to the club, even though obviously he was under pressure to go to one of the top AIL teams. But they all say from the very start they felt he had a potential to be a coach. He had that thought process about the game. Always he was considering how things worked together, why things had panned out a certain way, and that was his personality, as you mentioned, even outside rugby as well. One thing we should mention just in terms of him with the Springboks, I absolutely despise the begrudgery towards him that I've seen from quite a lot of people. Now I know I shouldn't judge off Twitter, but people are just really getting stuck into him from what I can see. He's not the attack coach. That's the thing we should mention. He does basically analysis on opposition individual players and defensive structures, and then feeds that back to Rassie Erasmus and Jack Nienaber. So essentially doing a very specific kind of analysis role, and Rassie Erasmus mentioned that he was really influential in the Wales week and in the Italy week in particular, because he knows those players from having worked with Munster for several years. He knew quite a lot of those guys, and he was able to add a lot of detail in that sense. He's not deciding what they do in attack, and that wasn't even the case really with Munster when Erasmus was in charge, and then Johan van Graan. I mean, he's the guy putting into place those plans from the head coaches. Now obviously the Munster attack didn't fire on a couple of occasions, and everyone takes responsibility for that, but I think it is very exciting for a 32-year-old who is still learning the ropes really in this game, and who up to a year or two ago wasn't even sure if he was going to be a career coach. He put his masters in kind of sports exercise performance psychology on hold to get into this, but it's really exciting for a coach that young, an Irish coach that young, to be involved in this, the biggest occasion in the game.